The Sopranos is widely recognized as a groundbreaking television series that revolutionized the crime drama genre with its intricate storytelling, complex characters, and a brutal realism that never shied away from depicting violence and death. Over 6 seasons, viewers have witnessed countless violent confrontations, murders, and betrayals. Yet, paradoxically, some of the show's most profoundly heartbreaking moments unfold in scenes where no one even dies. These moments derive their devastating power not from gore or physical loss, but from the raw emotional fallout of fractured relationships, unspoken regrets, and the existential loneliness that defines the series' characters. One such moment occurs in the episode Join the Club, Season 6, Episode 2. In this episode, Tony Soprano lies in a coma after being shot, disconnected from the physical world but trapped within his subconscious. The sequence is dreamlike, where Tommy's internal dialogue and reflections expose his vulnerabilities and fears. Importantly, no one dies in this scene, yet it leaves the audience with a profound sense of sadness and despair, capturing the core tragedy of Tommy's life. A man surrounded by violence but ultimately isolated by his own choices and psyche. This moment reveals a crucial storytelling technique of The Sopranos. It emphasizes emotional death and alienation as equally, if not more, tragic than physical death. Tommy's coma sequence strips away the bravado and power he wields as a mob boss, showing instead a man stripped of control, facing his own fragility and mortality. The scene's heart-wrenching impact comes from witnessing Tommy's vulnerability, his self-awareness of the damage he has done to himself and those around him. Here, the show explores how the internal wounds inflicted by a life of crime and personal betrayals can be more painful than any bullet. Moreover, many other moments in The Sopranos exemplify heartbreak without bloodshed. For example, the slow disintegration of Tony's marriage to Carmela, a central emotional thread throughout the series, is marked by scenes of quiet confrontation and emotional withdrawal rather than explosive violence. The raw pain of these scenes lies in the erosion of love and trust, the invisible wounds of infidelity, unmet expectations, and unspoken resentments. When Carmela silently watches Tony lie to her again, or when Tommy feels the sting of his own emotional disconnect, viewers feel a piercing sense of loss that no murder could replicate. Similarly, the dynamic between Tony and his children, especially Meadow and AJ, offers heartbreaking moments defined by missed opportunities and generational misunderstandings. In a particularly poignant scene in Season 6, Tony expresses frustration and disappointment toward AJ, who struggles to find his identity outside of his father's shadow. There is no physical violence, but the emotional violence of unmet expectations and the fear that AJ might repeat Tony's mistakes cuts deeply. It is a stark reminder that the cycle of dysfunction and pain in Tony's family is as damaging as any mob hit. Even the show's quieter characters experience moments of heartbreak without death. Christopher Moltisanti, whose turbulent journey as Tony's protege is filled with substance abuse and personal failure, suffers deeply from his sense of inadequacy and longing for approval. His tragic arc contains moments where the absence of death heightens the emotional tension, such as when he confronts his own limitations and the consequences of his choices, leading to isolation rather than physical demise. His struggles demonstrate how internal battles and self-destruction can resonate as heartbreakingly as any violent end. The Sopranos also leverages silence and subtlety to create emotional impact. The famous final scene of the series' controversial finale is a masterclass in ambiguity and dread. No one dies on screen, but the possibility hangs palpably in the air. The simple act of a family dinner, framed by a series of glances and a cut to black, leaves viewers with a gut-wrenching uncertainty about the future of Tony and his family. The absence of explicit violence makes the moment even more haunting, emphasizing how fragile Tony's world is and how close it always is to unraveling. Ultimately, The Sopranos teaches us that the most heartbreaking moments are often the ones that don't involve physical death but emotional devastation. The show's brilliance lies in its ability to portray the slow erosion of relationships, the crushing weight of regret, and the isolation that comes from living a life built on violence and lies. In these moments, the pain feels more real because it is drawn from the characters' inner lives, their hopes, fears, and failures, not just from external events.